talking about death, I mean, because it's part of the planning process, right? It's something you have to consider. It's something you talk about being unhealthy. You talk about needing help because of detrimental things that can happen to you. And it kind of gets political a little bit because, like, well, shouldn't the government pay for some of these things if they happen to you? The fact of the matter is they don't. I mean, Social Security, okay? Social Security has a death benefit, right? Since you die too soon from collecting your annuity from your pension from the government, there's a death benefit. But guess what? It's only $255. And you have to provide all this documentation to the government. I don't know how much of it is claimed. Sometimes at the end of the day you think, well, it's not really worth it. But I digress. Talking beyond the scope of this video. What I kind of wanted to talk about was that retirement planning and personal finance is something that is very complicated. And the reason why it's so complicated is because it is not one size fits all. It is a one size fits one. And you yourself, you who are planning on retiring hopefully one day, do have to make sometimes uncomfortable sanctions or uncomfortable compromises based on where you currently are in the lifespan of yourself and in your working life and your hopefully retiring life. Many people think that it should work out, just because it should. The fact of the matter is it will, but sometimes the consequences that come are not that welcome. What I mean by that is that when people retire, they finally leave their workplace. Let's say they have, $100,000 in IRA or 401k, and they have, maybe their Social Security, they find out it's going to be $2,000 a month. That's it. I mean, that is all, right? There's nothing else. If up to that point, that's all you have, there's nothing else. And that $2,000 a month needs to be enough to take care of everything, because at $2,000 a month, Social Security, Medicare, and all the public social services that are available, you make too much money to qualify for any of that. Except in states that have very high income requirements for housing, you might qualify for some of the newer houses, right, that are being built based on that Affordable Housing Act. But you're in no position to buy a new house with Social Security income at $2,000 and 67 years old. Most banks wouldn't give you a loan for 30 years at that point, let alone in these states that have housing income requirements that low. You wouldn't be able to meet the income requirements that you need for the bank. I digress again. I'm sorry, I'm going into all these unnecessary things. But what I'm trying to say is that most people walk into retirement like that. That's all they've got. It's unfortunate. And it's not that people don't or people want that outcome. It is not. It is people think that somehow, somewhere, somehow, the government or some magical 401k IRA gods are going to provide them with that income that they need, or that we can generate massive returns from the stock market or something. And I'll be the first to tell you, that's not how it goes. For that person who's retiring with $2,000 a month of income, and that's not a small amount, that means they were making probably $60,000 to $70,000 a year, to generate that kind of a Social Security income. They were making pretty good money, but that's all they're going to get, and it's barely going to keep up with inflation. They're going to have to use that to pay for their rent or mortgage if they still have one. They're going to have to use that to pay for all their food, their clothing, or their car insurance, their homeowner's insurance, renter's insurance if they're renting. They're going to have to use that to pay for any gifts that they want to provide to their loved ones for birthdays, Christmas. They're going to have to use that to fund any kind of vacations or outings with friends. And that Social Security benefit is still, unfortunately, going to be taxed. Right? There's still taxes you have to pay on Social Security benefits. It's still considered income. It's taxed a little bit differently, a little bit less, but it's still taxed. So, for many people, this whole kind of conversation can be very uncomfortable. It is. It's uncomfortable for even me to talk about with my wife, and I do this for a living, you know what I mean? It's hard when you are the person who is when it kind of feels that maybe you're not saving enough money, right? The way I plan my life, I want to retire early, I want to retire at 55. I want to have nice things, I don't have those things. I sacrifice now for not having nice things. But ultimately, I want to have nice things. Nice things for me, though, could be different from nice things for you. Like, I don't care about a nice car or nice clothes. For me, nice things would be like really good kitchen appliances, really good knife sets. Being able to purchase, nice cuts of meat to eat. You can tell I like to eat. I like to cook. Well, I don't like to cook, but I like to eat good meals. And if I have to cook them to get them, that's what I'll do. So, that's my kind of interpretation of nice things and how I want my retirement to look like. And I'm not there yet. I'm not close. I'm protected if anything were to happen to me. But I now have to work hard to put more money into investments. I do the standard $6,000 a year for my Roth, and I have permanent life insurance. Another $4,000 a year goes into there, $10,000 into savings. But to get the kind of lifestyle I want in the time frame I want it in, I'm gonna have to pump that up. I'm gonna need to put more than $10,000 a year in that bucket. And if you have someone who's in their 50s or going to be 60, and their financial picture looks much like your own, it can be scary to talk to somebody about that stuff. It's uncomfortable, even with your own family. So to talk to some stranger, it's even more uncomfortable, right? This stranger doesn't know anything about me, and now he or she wants to, dive into stuff that I don't even discuss with my wife, right? So how does that work? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's a conversation that you need to have with someone who understands what can be done, and someone who understands where the target is. So the target for retirement, 10 minutes into the video, the target for retirement is how much income you need. And the formula to figure out how much income you need is very complicated based on you. So the formula is based on what you need. For most people, generally, right? Not speaking to you as a singular person who's watching this video. I'm speaking to the general populace who may find this video. most people consider it 80% of what they were making pre-retiree. This typically is going to exclude things like the mortgage. Hopefully by this time you've already paid it off. But 80%. And the reason why is that we're going to say that when you retire, 20% of what you normally would be spending can and should disappear based on a couple things, like Medicare is cheaper, right? Your medical is cheaper. You may have to spend more money on it, but it'll be cheaper. Potentially you won't have to spend too much on gas because you're driving. You don't have to spend money on eating out as often as you can now. Now you have time to cook at home. But also expenses do go up. You're at home. If you live in a state that has cold days and hot days, you got to pay more AC. You got to pay for more cooling. You got to pay for more heating. You're at home more often. You got to pay for more household goods. Right? So, in my personal retirement plan, I plan on not decreasing my retirement income need at all when it comes to how much I'm making now. So my estimate is whatever I'm making now, I need exactly that amount. Potentially more, because I'm being frugal right now. When I retire, I want to have nice things, right? So for me, I increase my budget or my income need by 120%. I take 120% of what I'm currently using now, and that's what I want to target. But in addition to that, I don't want to have to pay for long-term care when I get it, because that's the income I need. But I will have that income, so I don't need to buy a policy that's going to pay for all of my long-term care. I just need a policy that's going to pay for my long-term care minus what my income is. So I can buy a smaller long-term care policy, right? And I plan on making my retirement tax efficient, so hopefully I can minimize my taxes because I'm doing a Roth and IU Wealth, or Index Universal Life Insurance, for my retirement. So my taxes are going to be lower because I will pretty much just have income from my Social Security, if it's still there, and retirement accounts that are after tax already, and Index Universal Life or life insurance loans, so I don't have to worry about taxes on the loans, right? So I have a much better tax circumstance when I retire. But that's me, right? That's how I want to run my life. And I'm in the industry. And I've been in this industry for 8 years, and I've kind of finally now realized that many of you, when you talk to your financial planner, they only talk to you about how much money you can accumulate and how much more you need to contribute. That's part of it. It is. But the most important part of it is how we are going to change your assets into income. Because a nice $1 million 401k balance is nice. Still can't buy you anything until you take the money out. And if it's a pre-tax 401k, every single dollar that comes out, it's got to be taxed. If your 401k is tied to the stock market still yet, and that $1 million becomes $500,000, that's not good. Not good. If you want to use the 4% rule, or the 4.7% rule, or the 5%, or whatever rule you want to use, that's not guaranteed either. That's just some guidance that some financial advisor put on their research journal as a tool and a caution to other advisors to tell them, hey, look, you know, we're telling people to take out 5%. You know, 4% is probably a better inline estimate for you guys. And even at 4%, at the end of 30 years, you know, a lot of my modules, my estimates ran the entire balance out. So the 4% rule is made to bankrupt the retiree. At the end of 30 years, the 4% rule assumes that you do not need any more money. Some people, what if they do? Like for myself, if I retire at 55, right? A lot of people live to 85, live beyond 85, And with medical technology, would I be okay with no money in my bank? With no money, period? I don't think so. So, what then should you do? Should you do 3%, 2%, 1%? Right? So you have to find strategies that will allow you to get what you need, whatever that is. A lot of people don't even have those conversations, so when the time comes, they end up like the example in the beginning of the video, $2,000 per year from Social Security, and maybe $100,000 in the bank. Is that enough? It has to be. It has to be. That is where I'm going to leave you folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun. Do good things. And I'll see you in the next video.